finally sitting down to eat my meal. I've got my grilled vegetables, mixed vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots with the chicken. Plus, I've got this is a can of sardines in water, delicious. And then I've got my plain old rice cakes. Really excited about this meal. This is more or less what I eat all the time. So there's tons of protein combined between the sardines and the chicken. I've got a absolute ton of vegetables here. So there is over 1 kilogram of mixed veg. Reasons for the incredible amount of vegetables. It keeps me satiated. So I'm someone that has had a pretty incredibly ravenous appetite for basically as long as I can remember. So for example, I remember growing up, we would go to restaurants with my family and I would be absolutely hungry out of my mind, and my mom would let me order 2 entrees. So like, for example, we'd go to Boston Pizza or Red Robin's and I would order like 2 full burgers. So a lot of food there. In retrospect, me being really hungry and eating such a massive amount of food, it might have actually been a positive thing. I was working out pretty hard at the time. This is when I was a teenager. So maybe it was a good thing in the grand scheme of my overall muscle building journey. But anyways, I still have that same ravenous appetite, and I still have the same ravenous appetite whether I am bulking, which I am right now, or cutting. So eating a massive amount of vegetables, it's pretty strategic and helpful for me because the vegetables themselves are low calorie dense, so I can eat a huge volume of them for relatively few calories. So this is helping me to keep my calorie surplus under control so that I don't just go completely off the rails with eating too many calories that I gain excess unwanted body fat. So they're relatively low calories. I can eat high volumes of them, which fills up my stomach, and it's basically when my stomach is full, sends signals to your brain letting you know you're full. Makes sense. Plus, the vegetables themselves are very high in fiber. Fiber itself is incredibly satiating, so it slows the digestion process, which means you'll feel full and you'll feel full for longer. So also really good for me. And if you're watching this and you have a ravenous appetite as well, you could always consider eating more vegetables in your diet. It really does help. It's been saving me for years. And then on top of that too, the vegetables themselves are very high in vitamins and minerals. So it adds a lot of nutritional value for my overall health, which, hey, I'll take that. And then of course we have the chicken in here. The chicken itself is just canned chicken, so not the highest quality protein source in the world. It's good enough, more or less. It's nice because it's allowing me to get lots of protein in the meal, considering I ran out of my prepped chicken. So it's kind of saving me a little bit, making sure that I'm getting tons of protein in this meal, which is going to be helpful. That in combination, of course, with the canned sardines, definitely getting enough protein. So I'm happy. And then on top of that, I've got my rice cakes, eating those basically just because I like them. There's not really any added nutritional value to these, not really any vitamins and minerals, especially compared to the vegetables, that's for sure. They're basically just pure calories, pure carbohydrate, pure energy, which is, it's okay, pretty neutral for your health, but because I have some calories that I can work with since I'm bulking, and because I like the taste and I like the texture, I'm including them because you gotta have a little bit of fun with your meals. So I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna enjoy the meal. Just to let you guys know too, I am in a bulking phase. I'm eating around 3,200 calories per day. I eat a little bit more than that. It's planned that way on the weekends, but most days I'm eating around 3,200 calories. If you guys want to learn a little bit more, if you want me to share a little bit more about the kind of mapped out plan I have as far as my bulking phases and my short fat loss phases, and how that's kind of strategically put together between my last competition season and my next competition season. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, I might make a whole video about it. So let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in me making a video like that, and maybe a video also talking in more depth about the bigger picture of how I'm eating, including how I'm eating for my breakfast and my dinner. So this is my middle meal of the day, my post-workout, my lunch basically. But anyways, if you want to learn a little bit more, I'd be happy to share that stuff with you. This is a lot of fun for me to get to talk about, to be honest. So I'd be happy to make a video. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Anyways, I'm gonna finally sit down and eat this and enjoy it, and then I'm gonna get back to work. All right, here we go. From my experience, to make some significant gains and progress with building your quads and your adductors and your glutes a little bit too from the leg press, it takes doing some counterintuitive things. One is moving with a decent amount of control as you lower the sled down. It's tough because it's not what you mentally want to be doing or physically want to be doing, because it's uncomfortable and it's tough. But in controlling the load on the way down, you're exposing your quads and all the muscles that are involved, mainly the quads, adductors, and glutes if you're moving with good depth. It's exposing them to tons of mechanical tension, which is the main driver for muscle growth. The other kind of counterintuitive element to making great gains with this exercise in particular is moving with basically as much depth as you can get away with. So bringing the sled as far down as possible, trying to bring your knees right down to your torso, even like kind of past it a little bit if you can, whilst minimizing the amount of kind of butt wink that goes on. I think a little bit of butt wink is okay as long as your spine stays within a neutral window. So you'll notice actually when I do these, my butt does come up a little bit, but I suspect that I am staying within a neutral, a window of neutrality with my spine, because it feels just fine and I've been doing this for years. So I think it's okay. As far as moving with tons of depth, you can experiment with your foot position a little bit. That's the foot position that works best for me. I put my feet low down on the pad, kind of at a hip width distance apart. You can try a little bit further apart, a little closer together, see what works best for you, but that works great for me right now. Next exercise was these good old-fashioned leg curls. What I'm doing is, I filmed the last set of the exercise. So what I do for the last set is I'll do as many reps as I can, and I believe it was 10 reps here, and then I'll do 2 drop sets. So I did 10 reps, controlled eccentric, little pause at the bottom there, keeping tension on my hamstrings. squeeze out the last rep, and then as soon as I finish it, unpin it, lower the load a little bit, and then do as many full reps as I can. I think I did 5 or 6, something like that. Really, really tough. The hamstrings are absolutely screaming at this point. There's a lot of metabolic stress building up, so like that burning feeling that you get when you're training your muscles for a while. It starts to really get killer at this point. Then one more drop set. And then what I do is as many reps as I can again. And then I'll finish the set with like 4 to 6 partials. So lengthen partials, basically just moving the load as much as I possibly can at the end of the set when I can no longer do a full range of motion rep. It's probably inducing a little bit more mechanical tension to drive for even more muscle growth. So get a pretty gnarly pump, a pretty gnarly hamstring pump after these. So I think it's doing the trick. Exercise after this are these close neutral grip pull downs. I'm using the Versa grips with these. I love the Versa grips for virtually all of my upper body exercises, especially the pulling exercises. So my most back exercises, the rows, the pull downs, also upright rows that I've been doing, they've been great for that. Now you'll notice when I do these, I fully stretch my arms up at the top of each rep, but I'm not sitting 100% vertically, 100% straight up. I'm actually still leaning back slightly at the top of each rep. The reason for that is if I do allow myself to lean completely upright at the top, then I actually kind of bottom out the equipment, and then I lose tension on my lats at the top of each rep. So I'm ending each rep there just to accommodate for my long arms, more or less. But it's kind of cool finishing each rep in that position. I do find I feel a little bit more tension, particularly in the lower part of my lats. I suspect the positioning has a little bit to do with that. Finished off. I try to finish off the set with a couple partials there. Next exercise. This is actually, I did another compound superset for my delts. That's one of the themes for my delt training lately is I'm doing a lot of compound supersets to try to stimulate them as much as I possibly can. They've been a kind of a stubborn muscle for me, a muscle that's been tough for me to connect with. And it's a little bit in the past has been lagging behind a lot of my other muscles. So between competition seasons, my last competition going into my next one, which is still coming up, still got time to build muscle, I'm trying to find ways to really hit my delts hard because I really want to improve those muscle groups. So I'm doing some dumbbell lateral raises, pausing at the top of each rep, slightly there, controlling the load on the way down. And from there, I'll actually superset these similarly to what I've been doing on my other training days with an overhead press. And you'll see it in just a second here. I'm really feeling like I'm getting a lot more skilled at all lateral raises over the past seven or 8 months or so. So that's been really promising for me. So I'm using this overhead press machine. The machine's okay. I have to set the seat adjustment just right. If I set it too low, then it bottoms out too early and I can't get as much range of motion as I want. And if I set the seat too high, then I'll actually, before I can fully lock out at the top, I'll actually bottom out the machine, like the pins will hit the top and I can't actually lock out at the top. So I have to find the perfect seat position for this. But once I found it, it's hitting really well. So I like doing a little bit of the machine work because there is, in comparison to using dumbbells or a barbell for an overhead press, there's less of a demand for stability because of the nature of using a machine. So I can really get a lot, push my muscle bellies, my delts really, really, really hard. So I suspect getting a lot out of doing these. I'm trying to keep my elbows further back rather than tucking them in to try to involve as much of the lateral or the medial heads, the side heads of my delts as much as possible. That's ultimately what's going to help me with the V taper that I'm really looking forward to from the bodybuilding stage. And lastly, finishing off with these good old-fashioned slight incline dumbbell chest presses, little pauses at the bottom there where I'm feeling a big stretch, and then control the load on the way down for tons of mechanical tension. Anyways, this is actually the end of the footage that I have here. I did tricep pushdowns and some bicep curls. I didn't film it. That's how I ended, but this is the end of the footage here. So thank you so much for watching this. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, please leave them in the comment section. I love getting to talk about this stuff in my training. It's something that I'm super passionate about. So if you guys want to talk more about it, I'd love to do so. Thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.